So, all right, Mom. I will. I'll call you back later. Okay, we're doing a live show. All right, love you too. So, bye. So, my mom, she likes to call and talk to me. So, we are at Gloria Horn Sewing Studio here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My name's Steve. I have Kathleen here with us, and Carol. And today, look at this. Get my phone out of the way. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? Today, we're gonna get tips and tricks. And what else today about this?
We're going to go through a whole section. We're going to do some new fabric prep work, and then we're going to talk about making this half circle. That's step 4. So we have lots of ideas to cover with you, and we're really excited to get started. So those of you that have been with us, we are talking about Glorious Summer. And Glorious Summer is the name of the Smith Street quilt. And we have Deb at home helping us answer questions. She'll be with us next time. And we have Ruth Ann online answering questions too. And those of you know, if you bought the Glorious Summer, it also comes with a second quilt pattern included called Summer Whimsy. Now the Glorious Summer, irregardless of what color you bought, it comes with all this beautiful applique fabric that's been curated for you to do all of these pieces here, and you could get it in the red background, which Deb has used, or the purple background, or the blue background. I did it in the tan background, and all of these kits are still available to you in case you want to jump in and get started. We also had a thread kit that was selected to match right with the fabrics that you are in the applique packet. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this because we've covered it pretty much, but we wanted you to know these kits are still available. And with that, we're going to show some of our finished products.
So I've seen some comments on Facebook about people wanting to get their puckering taken care of. So I know we're going to talk about that today. If you're experiencing some puckering, stay tuned because we're going to get you unpuckered today.
That's right. That's right.
And the other thing is that, like, these are flowers, right? And I've seen flowers of all different colors. And I've seen people worried about, does this color go there or does this color go here? And I personally think if I was doing this quilt for myself, I would pick the flowers in the color that I want and just kind of follow the picture, but don't get too stressed about what color goes exactly where, because this is your quilt and no one's going to compare it to the cover. And so you can use any color anywhere to get the look that you're going for.
If you want purple leaves, do purple leaves.
You're absolutely right. We could show that on the next one. This is Deb. She's doing the red, and we're going to come back to that in a little bit when we cover that lesson. I'm doing the tan, and if you notice, I didn't want any more blue daisies. So I did my daisies in yellow, and it really works out well. And then Carol has been doing hers in the black. And Carol has some special secrets to tell us. Before we go there, Carol, let's just talk about what we're using. We're using the Kimberbell Sticky Back Tearaway.
Yep.
And we hoop that. Everybody's using that. And when you're doing these square blocks, these square flower blocks, that was in part 3, we have been recommending the 8x8 hoop because then you don't have a lot of waste. And this fits right on there.
Yep.
Okay. And you have that centered and you're able to not have too much waste, and it makes it nice and simple, and there's no rehooping required, anything like that.
Right.
So we've been going along with that. And then when you're cutting these blocks, we have been utilizing this 6.5 by 6.5 inch roller because it is exactly
perfect.
the size.
That's perfect.
Exactly the size.
One thing I would like to mention too is don't forget to patch your stabilizer. It saves on stabilizer. When I did mine, I hooped the very first block. Every successive block for a total of 5 or 6 more, including the daisies, I patched. So that saves on stabilizer too. If you don't know how to patch, let us know and we can run through it at some point in time.
Sure.
But it's
Maybe
very
we can talk
simple.
about that right
Yep.
here on your hoop.
Yep.
So you have this great 8x8 hoop because look, it's going to fit right
Perfect.
in there. So what she's saying is when she's done, with this block, she pulls this off,
Correct.
and then you cut a piece.
Cut a piece of stabilizer, take your backing off, set that sticky stabilizer on a flat surface, sticky side up, and then set your hoop right down on top of it so that the new stabilizer overlaps underneath that hole that's created by pulling your block off. And it saves a lot of time because you're not rehooping with every block.
Right. And I know Deb and I do that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yep.
Okay, now this is what we're excited to have Carol teach us about today. Notice Carol doesn't have any puckering. Now, why don't you flip it over and show us what's going on there?
Well, I do have puckering in the middle. And I started getting a little discouraged because I don't like puckers. So I thought, well, what can I try or eliminate to prevent that? So what I did was I chose to do the following blocks without the SF-101. A lot of people are firm believers in this product, but when you have a lot of embroidery on a block, you are plowing those threads through multiple layers, including the SF-101, your fabric, any adhesives that you may have. Some people are using the hot fix adhesive, tearaway stabilizer if you're using that, and it's a lot of material for that needle to plow through. When your needle goes through the fabric, essentially what it's doing is it's not tearing the fabric, it's pushing those threads to the side so that it has room to travel along its path. When you've got more product even underneath that fabric, you've got more things that have to push out of the way to allow for that thread to follow, to go through. And I believe that that's the reason for the puckering. So I eliminated the SF1 after these initial 4 blocks, and I got to this point. And as you notice, there is no puckering. I didn't have to adjust any seams. The seams are all perfect. There's no puckering.
There's no puckering on the front, and there's no puckering on the back. It's just amazing. There's no puckering at all. And you did a pre-prep.
What I eliminated was the SF-101, but I also eliminated the tearaway on the bottom of the hoop because the product that I use creates a stiff enough fabric that you don't need those products. What I use is Terrio Magic.
And so you would buy Terrio Magic here at Gloria's and a empty spray bottle.
Exactly.
And how do you mix
your I mix my product with half water, half Terrio Magic. Now you can use this full strength, but you probably have a piece that ended up feeling like cardboard.
So you're doing 50% of this, 50% water in a simple spray bottle.
Correct.
And then you're labeling your spray bottle so you know what's in it. Okay.
Yep.
And you would just
you're saturating your fabric without it being dripping wet. You're allowing it to sit, and do that before you do any cutting. You always treat fabric with this before you do any cutting. Treat your fabric, spray it so that it's saturated and gets into those fibers pretty good, but not dripping wet.
Do you iron it?
You let it sit for about 15 to 20 minutes until it settles and moves into all the fibers in that fabric, and then you iron it. And
with a dry iron or a steam
with a dry iron, no steam. You don't need steam.
Okay.
Yep, dry iron, and then you cut your block.
And we are able to ship this, even though it's a liquid. We are able to ship it because it has a safety cap, and we do have both of these in stock now, right? Okay.
Right. Let me grab something over
here. I wish that you could see this in person because even on her sashing on her blocks, you can see the sashing on this. It's very similar to the tan sashing. It's laying so flat. It is just so flat. And this block here that has a lot of detail work and all of her little circles, there's no puckers in her little circles.
Listen to this. I don't know if you can hear it, but that's what your fabric sounds like. It almost feels like a sheet of paper.
It's like almost like cardboard. Yeah, not as stiff,
right?
But like oat tag.
Exactly. The nice thing about it is that it's it's a proprietary compound. We don't know what's in it, but I wouldn't classify it as either a starch or sizing. I would classify it as a stabilizer. It washes out totally. There is no residue or anything left in your quilt when you wash your quilt.
Okay.
So, and I noticed that when I iron, sometimes you get a little bit of a sheen on the where your seams are. That will also come out. See there, that little bit of a
So
sheen from
when
pressing.
you're done with this, you're going to wash it to get that out?
After I'm done quilting
After you're
it.
done quilting it.
Right.
Okay.
Now, just to give an example of the effectiveness of that product, these are my Wander Lane blocks.
And
They are perfectly flat, and every seam on the back is absolutely perfect. Now, the other thing that I started doing was I started using the 1/4-inch ruler foot with guide because I have vision problems. Her and I both have vision problems. And I found that 1/4-inch foot with guide to really keep me on track with getting perfect
seams.
Yes, I mean, that's perfect. There's minimal fraying, a lot less than if you didn't use the product. I'm not saying it disappears totally, but you can see there are no threads on my seams.
And they're almost like an oak tag folder.
Yep.
They have like that weight of an oak tag folder. It's truly amazing.
These are blocks that I did a long time ago. It's sitting in a bag to be finished, but it's perfect on the back. The seams are perfect. You know, there's no fraying. And when you're trying to match points and match seams, it's so effortless that it's like a miracle. You know, it really is a miracle product. There isn't any sewing, piecing, embroidery, or quilting that I would do without this product.
Okay, and it is called a stabilizer. It says liquid fabric stabilizer.
And that's different from a starch and sizing.
Correct.
There's another product that I'm going to show you that is more comparable to starch and sizing, but once again, theirs is a proprietary formula, and we don't know what's in it, but should we advance to the Acorn Precision Piecing?
The products
Here
are
it
right
is.
here.
Okay, good, thank you. This product here is the Acorn Precision Piecing Treatment. Now, I have examples of this product that I took home over the weekend and used. I actually did a sample using Terrio Magic, and I used a sample. Oh, where's my other pink block? Do you see it? Oh, no, here it is, right underneath. I did a little test using Terrio Magic on one 9-patch square and this precision piecing treatment on the other. This is the precision piecing block. Now, I do have to say that if I was doing a quilt that was just quilting and no embroidery, this product is perfect because it gives strength to the block, enough for me to create effortless seams, but it didn't give me the stiffness that I particularly prefer for the embroidery. I cut these, I treated my fabric beforehand, cut, pieced. This block required no trimming whatsoever. It is perfect 6.5 inches. This block was done using the Terrio Magic, and if you look at, let me hold it.
Right, this feels like
how much firmer the Terrio Magic
is
is as opposed to the Precision. They both have their uses. Terrio Magic, I would definitely use. I don't do embroidery without Terrio Magic.
And then when you buy this, how do you use it?
This is a rechargeable spray bottle.
A rechargeable?
Rechargeable. And you know what? It's the bomb. I was so impressed with this. It comes with a bottle containing 16 ounces of the treatment, and you get a charging cord with it. In the back of the nozzle, there's this little rubber flap, which is where you plug the cord into, and then you plug the opposite end of the cord into your recharging device, whether it's your computer or your, I'm sure it would probably fit into the machine or a brick. To activate it, you push this gray button, the one that's kind of indented more than this one on the bottom, and it's like It's amazing. There's no constant having to pull that trigger when you're using a spray bottle.
So that's good for our arthritic girls.
Exactly. As long as you hold that button, it's spraying. The nozzle has two streams of spray. One is a small stream, which is for misting, which is what I did on my pieces, or you can get a stream as opposed to a mist. The smaller is for misting. The larger is for the steam. This I thought was incredible. The other product that I use in combination with material exclusively is, well, actually there are two. We have this package that's called Easy Precision Piecing System. In this package, you will get a pen, you'll get a bottle of the pressing treatment, and you'll get seam-align glue. There's an ounce of this, and I believe 4 ounces of this. This is to set your seams. There's no pins. I don't use pins. I put my pins away. I can't tell you when I last used a pin.
Oh my goodness.
Now, I haven't used a pin in years.
Okay.
This treatment, you open this, you put it in here. This actually opens up. Wrong end, Carol. And you fill the cylinder with this product here. You close it back up, remove the bottom, and at the end there's a felt nib. That's what dispenses the product.
Oh, and
When
you use that
you're-
instead of pinning.
This seam-align glue is used instead of pinning.
Okay.
This is to get the perfectly flat seam on the back here. When you're setting seams, this is what you use. You prime this rib by pushing down on it. It fills this little felt thing up with your solution, and you run it along your seam before you press it.
Before you press it.
And then press it, and that seam is as flat as a pancake. Those seams are as flat as a pancake.
Unbelievable.
And when you're nesting seams, it's just perfect. You're not having to worry about things popping up, moving around. It's just absolutely perfect.
And all three products come together
Yes.
in the one package.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, this is all new information. Wow.
Plop the iron on.
It is. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And
Medium or
I'll give
high?
you a little demo of these two products
Medium or high?
in a second. High.
Okay. And we have an ironing thing right here for you.
Yep. Okay, great.
Let me just move this.
We'll
so
let
it
that
doesn't-
get.
We can talk about this product while she's getting set up. Steve just introduced us to these today. It's a hoop mat. And it is, I don't know what you'd call it. It's rubbery and it sticks down to your cutting mat. You don't want to use it as a cutting mat and you don't want to use it as an ironing mat, but it's wonderful when you're hooping your products. You know how sometimes you're trying to get that hoop together and the bottom slides out? This will hold your base hoop so that you can get the two pieces together. You ready, Carol? Do you want this up or down?
It doesn't matter. I'm going to move over to the mat here.
Okay.
As long as our iron
Can we
is
slide the mat over?
near
actually?
ready. Yes.
So we can iron
we
on
can.
top of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Okay. Now, if you can see, I haven't flipped these over yet to iron them.
So
I'm
before
gonna-
you set the seam,
I'm going to set the seam.
you're going to set the seam.
Going to set the seam. Put that back. Fold it over. Run. Now, this is mine from home, so it has product in it. Run this nib right over top of that seam. And you notice how it wants to kind of pop up. Totally flat.
Oh my goodness.
Totally flat. This product in the dispenser is the same as what's in the big rechargeable bottle. It's a treatment. It is totally flat.
And that's what it calls. It calls itself Easy Press Fabric Treatment Set.
Once again, I'll take the other side, fold that over, kind of finger press it. take the product, run it along that seam.
Now you can see why we had to have her come in for a guest appearance. This is all just new and amazing.
There we go, perfectly flat.
Wow. Wow.
You can see on the back,
Oh my goodness.
perfectly flat.
It's not even lifting at all. I almost have
Nope.
to pry it up.
You do.
It's not lifting at all.
Now, to seam align glue, let's assume we're going to start with block, is it the third, part 3?
Yes.
We're going to attach this half triangle to this seam. You're going to take this little top off of the applicator bottle, and you're going to dispense tiny dots,
Just like pin size?
pin size, right along your seam.
So she's working on this part of your glorious summer quilt. Okay. She's attaching.
Gonna
this to-
attach, line it up. Now, when you're lining things up, you not only have to worry about this, you
Right.
have to worry about
Correct.
this right angle too.
Mhm.
Press it down a little bit, grab your iron, hit it with the iron for 5 to 7,
And
10
that iron
seconds.
probably has water in it. It's probably set for steam.
I
so-
moved it off of steam.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's held, no pins. You can take that right over to your machine and sew it.
Oh, my
Does
goodness.
it leave anything on your iron?
No,
Cindy asked.
no.
That's a very
I've
good
never
question.
noticed residue on my iron.
The question was, does it leave anything on your iron? And the answer is, she's not experienced that. You've not experienced it on your
No,
iron.
no, not at all. Yep, I know. Okay.
What happens if you have to rip out?
Good question. What if
rip
you have
this?
to rip out a seam? What do you do? Like, let's say that you didn't want it on this block. What would you do?
I didn't just take it off.
Oh, did you see that? Did you see that?
It's not there permanently. It's only there temporarily. It's to replace the pins. You just take
So
it
that's
off.
this little bottle that came in the three-piece set.
Right.
And this is the pin replacement.
It's the seam
And you saw
align
she
glue.
just popped it right off.
Yep.
Wow.
For lack of anything better, I have used Elmer's washable glue. Does the exact same thing. But these products as a set are indispensable, in my opinion. That rechargeable sprayer is the bomb. It really is. But perfect piecing, perfect seams. What more can you ask for?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know what? Let's move on to.
Let's see if there are any questions.
yeah,
Any more
questions.
questions or comments?
Questions. What about matching seams? Is it easy to use when you're trying to match seams?
Yes, yes. So let me pull over.
Here's your quilt right here. She had to match all of these seams.
Yeah, when you match seams, it's the same process. Just, when you're matching, especially these long seams, and I'm sure experienced quilters know this, but find your middle. Find your middle, match your middle, use the seam glue, and you're just going to run little dots of fabric all the way down. Press it, and boom, you're done. Go to the sewing machine and sew. Matching seams, I didn't. Now I'm going to point out another thing. When you cut your fabric, if you notice, I had to make adjustments on some of these seams, even though I thought my cutting was perfect. When you have a lot of layers and you're balancing basically your ruler on top of that applique thread and multiple layers, it's near impossible to get that ruler down close enough to the edge of your fabric to get a perfect cut. And I believe that that's what happened here. But because I didn't use SF 101 and the other stabilizers, when I quit using the SF 101, I had to make no adjustments. Everything went together
So
perfectly.
She's showing here. She had to make an adjustment to have these blocks
Same with-
square up.
Same with this one. I
And
had
that
to
was
make an
because
adjustment.
here, but over here, there's very little. Look, there's no adjustments.
Right,
That's what she's talking about. Her secondary cut adjustments.
right.
Right. That makes a difference.
Here, I had to make a big adjustment.
Right.
You know,
And that's
it's-
because you had the SF
Right.
and all of that.
It's hard to cut when you've got all those layers. This was the stabilized fabric is so much easier to cut and easier to get perfect cuts with.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
Can you do the entire quilt with justTerial Magic?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yes, absolutely. I've done many quilts with just Terrial Magic. Quilted, I mean embroidered and non-embroidered.
Let's see. Does it affect your wool mat? Did I already ask you that?
I
think did.
spray my, I usually cut my fabric in a fat quarter or a quarter yard or a half yard, and I take it outside and spray it.
Okay. You like
You
to
know,
spray
it's
outside.
not, it is non-toxic, but I don't want oversprayed.
Well, you have a dog too.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to overspray catching on anything.
Right.
And frugal me, I did buy a drying rack from Amazon because I like the smell of fabric clothes dried outside and sheets and stuff in the summer. So I have that too, and I'll just hang it over my wooden drying rack, and after 10 or 15, 20 minutes, it's ready to be ironed.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That's amazing.
But
That's amazing.
Yep.
So that's why we invited Carol on today, because that is an amazing lesson. And we're going to continue.
There's another question. Multiple people have asked for this Acorn Easy Sprayer. Are there refill?
yes,
available?
you can buy refills of
We
the
can-
solution.
we'll show-
Absolutely.
We'll show that.
Yes.
We don't have it yet at the store.
Yeah,
We
but
just-
we
get it.
will.
We'll
But
get
we'll
We'll
be
get
getting
it.
it. Yeah, we'll be getting
Yep.
it, and we'll show that on another show, the refills of that, because you're right. We're all going to be using a lot of this. So, all right.
What stabilizer did you use in the hoop?
I only use sticky back tearaway. I didn't use any.
She used this stabilizer, the
Yep.
Kimberbell Sticky Back Tearaway Stabilizer in
Yep.
the hoop.
That's it.
No hot fix.
No hot,
No hot
no
fix.
hot fix.
No tearaway floated underneath. Just
Interesting.
the sticky back.
All right.
Do you hold this for me?
Yep.
Very
Sure.
cool.
Let me move
Okay.
these. Do you need this anymore?
No, not right
Okay.
now.
All right.
All right, we're moving on with our lesson. And look at Deb did. It's so beautiful. Deb did, this is part 4 and 5. So part 4 was these 4 blocks. And then part 5 is these 3 blocks. Now, if we can go over to the machine for a minute.
Sure.
Okay, we're going to go over to the machine. And we have,
I'm coming
I can't
over.
wait to get to this. I have one little corner left to add, and then I'll be doing this part. This is so cool.
Okay, so I'm coming over.
it's just one, it's not that big of a deal, but I just want you to see how it's going to stitch out at the very first stitch line is going to be a placement line. So you can see we have it on our Solaris. We added it. This is one of the corner borders. I'm going to take it back over to the table, PJ.
Okay.
There's something I want to mention too in regards to that and the Terrial Magic. Set that down.
So I have, go ahead. Go ahead, finish up.
The Terrial Magic makes your fabric stiff enough so that when you go to place your fabric and align it with these crosshairs, this fabric creases so easily. You create a fabric that and that line is there. I mean, it's so easy.
Oh my goodness, I can see that
Yep.
that line there.
And it's
Yes.
so easy to line things up.
Wow, you
with
probably wouldn't
those.
even have to use the marking pen. 'Cause
Yep.
I use the marking pen.
I never do.
Right. Okay. See. what-
Even when basically you're putting an enlarged piece of fabric in the hoop. So
Mm-hmm.
I will just find my middle and I'll align using
I-
the creasing
Can I
method with
shift
the
you both over
Terrial.
this way? Thank you.
I'll crease with the Terrial Magic, and it creates such creases that I'll just match to my points
Okay.
on the hoop, and boom, I'm done. It's
Okay.
centered.
All right. Now we're back to working on these blocks here. Okay? These blocks right here. So it gave us a stitch outline, and I had already adhered the shape flex to the back of my fabric after I had washed and prepared it. I folded in half, and I folded in half. And for me, because I didn't have Carol yet, I made a little mark there. All right?
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to continue to use shape flex on your quilt?
Probably not. Probably not. So I don't have sticky back in here, but I did want you to see how I'm lining that up. Okay. And then you just flip it up. You have it on your sticky back, and then it goes and it will stitch this out. Let me show you. There's two tricks to this. So here's where it's going to stitch out. Okay. It is actually this block right here. Okay. This block right here. I'm going to bring this side
Yeah,
in.
let's shift over a little
I'm
bit.
going to shift over a little bit. So on Deb's, and one thing that Deb did and I replicated is I matched my choice of daisy fabrics to the same ones that were on the large square,
Yeah.
to the large square, because I kind of wanted them to complement each other. So I did that on mine, and it looks like Deb did that on hers. Now, so I've stitched this block out, all right? Remember, it was on those crosshairs. So as you can see, I just pulled out the middle, and in the back, before you take your sticky back off, you need to look at where those crosshairs are, okay? And I am marking it with a pin because the next step after you do 4 of each of these, so it's going to be 4 of these, 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 4 of these. So this is block 4, and then this is block 5, these 3 in the center. And Deb has sent hers in for us. And God love her, she already did the corners too. Aren't they glorious?
Ooh.
They are just glorious. And there's a little bit of puckering, but they
Ooh.
are glorious. And they're going to be her keystones in the corner.
I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Does she only give you the crosshairs for these blocks, or does she give you the X's like she did down for these?
No.
Oh,
only
that
the-
was, they
that-
were rehooping
That was because
X's.
they were rehooped.
Okay,
Right?
got
These
it.
were not rehooped. So I'm going
Okay.
to match this up. And ladies, you're going to have, sewists, you're going to have to think about, notice there are commonalities and there are differences. Do you want your red flowers to be the same all the way across?
No waves. We want no waves.
Right. Now, on the back, she has her X's there. Okay. I'm going to flip it over. You can see her. And she went and drew a line so that we could see it and you could see it at home real well. And we are going to match these up. Now, if Carol was doing this, Carol would be using her little dot jar, okay? And she would be matching these two together with the dot jar, okay? Because the seam would be here,
Right.
okay? And you can see that, and we don't want you to feel rushed. So we're going to stop our lesson for this week on this. If you want to go ahead and stitch out your 4 cornerstones, aren't they gorgeous? They are glorious, you know. And you want to think about how your fabrics are falling. I want to take it back to this center one again. And thank you. A special shout out to Deb to thank her for
Rubbing alcohol.
doing all these. Yeah, we'll come to that in a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a couple questions about what hoop.
Excuse me?
What hoop are
For
you
this?
using for these?
For this, it was an 8.5 by 11, I think.
8.5 by 11.
Is that what size this is?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
It's a standard 8.5 by 11, and you saw it fit in there perfectly for me.
Yep.
It fit in there perfectly, so there was really not very much waste.
Yep.
And we have this hoop available. If you don't have this one, we have it available. We are going to also, I'm going to notice again, this is not a magnetic hoop because we want that stabilizer firm. When we're doing our embroidery, we want that stabilizer firm. But I am going to talk about a magnetic hoop today too. So we have these blocks ready, and now, is there any questions on this part of the Glorious Summer Standard?
Let's see. I don't see any major questions.
Okay, good. We're going to have Carol teach us now another one of her tricks.
Oh, this is so simple, and it's actually not my idea. Carolyn Hack on one of the last lives mentioned the rubbing alcohol trick to remove sticky stabilizer, and I was like floored when I tried it because it is so simple.
You all remember when I made this one in 10 hours? I was a little bit of a maniac. I did not take out the stabilizer. So I have Carol here. We have the
There's an
The
8
perfect-
by, sorry, I don't mean
it's
to
okay.
interrupt you. There's an 8x12 hoop. Is that the one you use? Or you
Oh,
said 8 by
yeah,
11?
you said 8
Yeah.
by 11 and a half.
sorry,
8 by
8 by
12
12.
is the
Yeah.
proper size.
yes,
Yeah.
8 by 12.
Yep.
So here is your creasing tool. Whenever you are creasing your sticky stabilizer to pull off the backing, you can see
here's
there's a
some.
lot here. So Carol's going to show us how this works.
Rubbing alcohol straight up in a spray bottle. There's your rubbing alcohol available at any pharmacy or Giant Eagle or wherever you want to get it. Put it in your spray bottle, and you are going to just lightly mist. It doesn't matter how much you soak it because rubbing alcohol evaporates anyway. A couple of hours after I sprayed mine, and I even ironed it, you couldn't smell anything.
Okay.
It was. Is this tearaway? Oh, is this tearaway? Where's
Yes.
your sticky?
The sticky's on there. There's no tear away. It's just sticky. So you saw that came off real easy. Here, this big one, maybe this one.
Let's do.
Okay. There's a trash can right here. And I can already feel the sticky back dissolving on my fingers
Yes.
with that.
I actually just stick it all in my finger on this hand. Let's do a smaller space.
And this is mind blowing, right?
Yeah, this is mind blowing. It's coming off like butter.
Yep. You get enough on there, it just,
And it's another good use for that scoring tool.
yep.
As well as
Now-
all of your tweezers that we've already been showing you.
Wow.
It just pulls right
Wow,
off.
did you see that? Yeah.
That's something else.
That's unbelievable. Look at how now that is sticky back that's coming off just like as if it's tearaway.
It'll get it off of every last nook and cranny that you can possibly find.
Oh my goodness.
Does it discolor the fabric?
No, it doesn't. It's
And that's
alcohol.
why we did it on the white, because if it's going to discolor, it's going to show on the white or it's going to show on the reverse on the blues.
And once again, I want to thank Carolyn Hack for that tip because I think that's a really good tip.
That's a
It's-
game changer.
Yes.
Mhm.
No more sitting in front of the TV for 3 hours trying to get your stabilizer out.
Yeah, you could go anywhere because it's all over
Yep,
here.
but I did this part already.
Oh, good. Yeah.
But you leave it for a couple of seconds and it gets even looser.
Wow. Now, I don't see any discoloration.
The tiniest little nook, these little corners totally comes off of it.
Incredible.
Wow.
Yep.
So for those out there, I see Debbie says she likes to use SF101. We have that available too, if you want to do it that way, right? And
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the shape
Featherweight
flex.
Hot Fix is available.
Yeah,
Yep, we have the hot
Yeah.
fix available.
Yep.
We have the shape flex available.
Basically, what I've shown you are just suggestions.
Right.
You know,
Everybody's got
if
their
you
way.
have your preferred way of doing things, just go right on ahead and do it. But, I'm just wanted to show, that I've had success with these products, and I think other people will also.
Well, and remember, Deb and I from the get-go have said, make this quilt you.
Yeah,
You're putting a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort in it.
right.
Make the colors speak to you. If you don't like a thread choice, pick a different one.
Right.
Use your stash. Remember, I didn't like the salmon, so
Me
I
either.
brought in. You
Yeah,
didn't like the
I
salmon
didn't
either.
use
Okay.
one speck of it.
Okay, and then
Sorry, Ruth Ann.
yeah, I also wanted to recommend that Deb recommended this ruler. It is the we have two blind girls, 8.5 by 12.5, and it's perfect when you're cutting those blocks that we just showed you. When you're trimming these blocks, I've not trimmed my blocks, but I know I'm going to use this roller to trim my blocks to the correct size when I'm getting ready to assemble them. And we're going to talk more about the assembly of that wreath next when we come back to you again in 2 weeks.
I will note that if you don't use the SF101, this sticky back stabilizer literally melts off of your fabric. It's not hard to get off of the, it's hard to see because it's white also. But on my,
And we have some new bright lights in the studio
Yeah.
today. Okay, I think we
But-
got them the idea of
Yep.
it.
That is really cool.
no, I'm all
That's
sticky.
really cool. Now, this was our first project. I kind of threw it together really fast. I have great news, sewists. These kits, the fabric kits, went out this morning. And some of the thread kits went out. Some of the thread is still on back order for the blue. And if you ordered that kit, here's what came in it. These 4 blocks are the same as your center block of your quilt. Okay, so you have that particular embroidery pattern already in your Glorious Summer CD set.
When
What
I had my middle done, I actually brought it into the shop and I said to Pat, I don't know if I want to go any further. This would make a perfect table runner before we even knew
Right.
that, it was planned.
Right. So we're selling it as a kit. It's a table topper. You get 11, usually it calls for 10, but some of the kits have 11 different pieces of a variety of blues, and they have different fabric, different patterns on them, okay? That you can decide how you want to put them on in your pieces. You have this beautiful, it's Whisper Weave is the background fabric, and then we have this beautiful blue grunge that we cut it in one piece, so in case you want to do wraparound binding. You get all of this together, and they did ship out this morning. We have more available if you're interested, okay? We're also going to talk about a new project. I just did this one for you. It's the Glorious Table Topper. And my daughter said, oh, doesn't that look like Lily Putzer or Vera Bradley type?
Yep.
And we were
Tulip
looking,
pink.
Yeah, tulip pink. We
Yep.
wanted something nice and bright for the summer.
This is the runner. That
This is
the
the
Yes, I'm
blue
sorry.
one
This
is
is
the
the
topper.
topper.
That is
Okay.
correct. I'm sorry, I said the wrong
No
word.
problem.
So in this kit, it's just available today. It was funny. This morning I was cutting them and somebody wanted to buy them and I said, well, we have to show it tonight. So what you will get is the directions. You already have the embroidery software for these, okay? You'll get the 3 pages of directions to tell you how to do it. You have this beautiful backing. You have a beautiful white grunge and these 2 different
Greens.
greens and a pink. Now, I want to tell you, I need you, PJ, to zoom in
Okay.
because I went and I did the embroidery, the quilting. I used the quilting patterns that are on your CD. Okay, I did all of this on a Destiny, by the way, and it said to reduce the quilting pattern to 8 inches, and I could only get it just shy of 8 inches. And it told you to do the corners as 2 8-inch blocks, but I was having trouble overlapping them. So I want to show you some of my tips. Hold on for a minute.
This is one of my favorite blocks from the main quilt. I love the colors in it.
Now, when I was putting this together, I actually did the first time I did this with a 4-inch border. And I thought, well, that might be a little much. So I took it down to it's 1 1/4 inch. In the middle, I have this. It is the Baby Lock Ultra Soft Fusible. So it's fusible on one side. So I fused it to one side. I put my background fabric, I had my quilt top, and I used my magnetic hoop. Can you hold this for a minute while I get mine on?
Certainly.
There's a couple questions. Well, I'll let you go ahead and talk about the hoop first.
This is my magnetic hoop, and this is very important. I know that some of you threw away these little ruler stickers, but it really made the difference when I was quilting this because I used this magnetic hoop. I positioned this I took my thing because it's so hard when this gets magnetized down. I wanted to see where this was going to be.
Yeah.
So I used this card to line up. That is the corner seam of these 2 blocks. So if you can see that, there's a little corner seam there. I put my cardboard there, and I made sure my magnetic hoop was on 0. Okay? And I shifted it down this way a little bit because I did not put any stabilizer in it, and I wanted it to be at 2 inches. I wanted the edge of the fabric to be at 2 inches. Okay? And that way, when I dropped my needle and I quilted this, that I had shrunk to 8 inches, then I was able to quilt this right in place. And let me show you what thread I used. Where's my thread? It's variegated. PJ, the variegated thread.
I stole it.
Was it? PJ had my variegated thread. Let me get the one out of my bag because it's open. But this is a very pale green.
Little bit of yellow, cream. And the green is like it's like a minty green.
Here's what it looks like up close, PJ, if you want to
Yeah, I'm coming.
camera shot this. I put this on as my top thread, and I use the invisible thread, which we sell here. The invisible thread, it's called monopoly, and it's invisible thread. I wound this on my bobbin. I put this in my bobbin, and this is my top thread, and that is how I did all of the quilting as well as the stitch in the ditch. I just stitched in the ditch between my blocks so it doesn't take away from this beautiful fabric on the back.
Really good. Mm-hmm.
And because I was doing the mitered edge myself, I had left my mitered edge here. So even though I did a wraparound binding, I did not miter the edge. But if I had my tool at my house, and if you look back 2 weeks ago, Joni and Gloria, they said that they've done this 54 times, and the best one was on a Thursday night 2 weeks ago. So it's the quick and easy mitered binding tool, and that gives you a nice edge there. So, are there questions?
The question is about for those who purchase the design CD, will the patterns be available without purchasing the kit?
You can figure it out. The patterns are on the CD.
Yeah.
They're there
So
as
if you bought the
you can
Gloria
figure
Summer-
out. Look at this block. You could pick any 2 blocks.
Right.
You could pick any 2 blocks that you like, And you could
Do you want to get a close up of that?
you could do the quilting. We're going to talk about that at the very last show probably, but you can do that quilting. It just said to reduce it to 8 inches.
Looks really good.
And you can make the runner any size you want to. You
Re-
can go longer
correct.
or shorter.
Correct. And you could do a tighter binding.
Right.
It's just that fabric is just so beautiful. We just wanted to be able to complement that fabric. And these blocks have a lot of stitching on them. So maybe you want to pick 2 blocks that have much less
That would be
stitching.
one of my choices. That's my favorite
Yes,
block so far.
I thought
I
about
love that.
doing that one like a daisy too.
Yeah.
You know, like yellow and orange in the middle.
Yep.
You know, something
It's
like
beautiful.
that. You know, so.
Yep.
All right, we're happy to answer any questions. We do want to remind you that you will be going through bobbins. So if you're doing the dark fabric, we have the Filtech in a tube. We have it in white and black. And if you're doing a lot of the white, we have the whole box of bobbins.
80 are in there.
Right.
Yep.
It's amazing how much bobbin thread, because I
Yep.
was winding mine, and then when I did this one, I used these, and I was so happy. And you Destiny girls, I did this entire thing on my Destiny because I was sewing the other blocks on my sword. Yes. So, and don't be afraid of this invisible thread. The hardest part is trying to see it to wind it on the bobbin.
Yep. Find the end of it.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So, and I just thought that I wanted to see what the variegated looked like, because I might want to do a variegated on my large quilt, and it's not really popping
It's
a
very
lot.
it's very subtle, but it's there. Yes.
And I did
beautiful.
the stitch in the ditch with this also.
Yep.
And I did use my walking foot for my stitch in the ditch, with the stitch in the ditch foot. So, all right, questions, PJ?
Let's see. Let's let them. Let's ask if there's any further questions.
Are there any further
We've moved
questions
pretty
that
quickly
we can
here.
answer for you?
Yeah,
Somebody
we have a
asked,
little bit
do
of
you
time.
have to remove the sticky stuff? You want to remove your sticky stabilizer. You know, it's a product that's not intended to stay in your quilt.
Right, and if you don't remove it, when you wash it, it might ball up,
Exactly.
and you don't want that to happen. So you do need to remove that sticky stabilizer at some point in time.
Yep.
I think somebody wanted to see the variegated that you showed. We didn't get like a good close up of it. Here, let's just put it down and I'll get a close up
okay.
of it there. Yeah, and the number of the thread there. Do you want to just read that off?
5104, B5104.
Really cool.
And we only have it in the large spool.
Well, that was really great. So I think awesome show. Learned lots today. Thank you both. Lots of great comments here. So
Thank you for watching.
Thank you,
No
and we'll be
further
back.
questions.
We'll be back in 2 weeks. Deb will be back with us, and we have quick recovery to Deb and Ruth Ann. So
Yep,
thank you for
definitely.
watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.
bye.